Okay, now let us see special greeting word in Amharic language. And previously we have seen that there are greeting words in Amharic language. And for instance, we have seen that in order to say how are you in Amharic language, we have said that it depends on the person. Okay, if the person is male, female, or two or more than two, it depends on that. Okay, if you want to say how are you, if the person is male, we'll say እንዴት ነህ. Okay, and if the person is female, in order to say how are you, we'll say እንዴት ነሽ. Okay, እንዴት ነሽ. And if the persons are two or more than two, in order to say how are you in Amharic, we'll say እንዴት ናችሁ. Okay, እንዴት ናችሁ. So in greeting, if you want to say how are you, it depends on the person in Amharic person, if it is male, female, or two or more than two. And the answer also depends on that. Okay, if we say how are you, the answer is I am fine or I am not fine. Okay, one of the two are the answer. So the answer depends on the person in Amharic also too. Okay, the answer depends on the person. If the person is male, if you say I am fine, ደህና ነኝ. If the persons are two or more than two, ደህና ነን. Okay, it depends on the persons. Okay, and similarly, we have seen that the greeting good morning, good afternoon, and good evening also depends on the person in Amharic language. Okay, in order to say good morning, if the person is male, ደህና አደርክ, we'll say ደህና አደርክ. And if the person is female, in order to say good morning, we'll say ደህና አደርሽ. And if the persons are two or more than two, in order to say good morning, we'll say ደህና አደራችሁ, ደህና አደራችሁ. Then the answer, the common answer is እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን. So similar. Okay, and also in order to say good afternoon, it depends on the person. Okay, if the person is male, we'll say what ደህና ዋልክ, in order to say good afternoon. And also in order to say good afternoon, if the person is female, we'll say ደህና ዋልሽ. And if the persons are two or more than two, in order to say good afternoon, we'll say ደህና ዋላችሁ. Similarly, in order to say, then the answer is similar. እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን. Okay, all of them can answer እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን. Similarly, if we want to say good evening in Amharic, it depends on the persons. If the person is male, in order to say good evening, we'll say ደህና አመሸክ. If the person is female, in order to say good evening, we'll say what ደህና አመሸሽ. And similarly, if the persons are two or more than two, in order to say good evening, we'll say ደህና አመሻችሁ. So what we have seen is that in Amharic greetings, the answer depends on the person. Okay, if the person is male, female, or two or more than two, the answer depends on the person, so it differs. But this special greeting Amharic language is different from all the others. Okay, and it is what ጤና ይስጥልኝ. Okay, ጤና ይስጥልኝ. This one is subgroup of ጠ ጡ ጢ ጣ ጤ. Okay, and this subgroup of ነ ኑ ኒ ና. This one is subgroup of የ ዩ ይ ያ የ. Okay, የ. And this one is subgroup of ሰ ሱ ሲ ሳ ሲ ስ. And this one is subgroup of ጠ ጡ ጢ ጣ ጤ ጥ. Okay, this one is subgroup of ለ ሉ ሊ ላ ሌ ል. And this one is subgroup of ኘ ኙ ኚ ኛ ኝ. Okay, this one is ኘ. So when we read it, ጤና ይስጥልኝ, ጤና ይስጥልኝ, ጤና ይስጥልኝ. Okay, this one is also a greeting word in Amharic language, and it's a special greeting. You know, it differs from all other we have seen. Since you can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ in the morning. Okay, you can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ in the afternoon, you can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ in the evening. So the time doesn't matter in order to say ጤና ይስጥልኝ. Okay, it can be used anytime. One difference is that it can be used, okay, anytime, in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. Anytime it can be used. So you can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ. The other difference from the other greeting is that it doesn't depend on the person. Okay, whether the person is male, female, or two or more than two, it's the same for all of them. So if the person is male, we can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ. If the person is female, we can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ. If the persons are two or more than two, we can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ. So it works for all person. Okay, whether it is female, male, or two or more than two, it's similar ጤና ይስጥልኝ the other is that it can be used anytime in the morning in the afternoon in the evening anytime you can say ጤና ይስጥልኝ okay and the reply is when someone says you ጤና ይስጥልኝ then you will reply አብሮ ይስጥልን okay አብሮ ይስጥልን this one is basic alphabet a this one is subgroup of alphabet b b bu bi ba b b okay this one is subgroup of alphabet r r ru ri ra re r this one is subgroup of y yu yi ya ye ye okay this one is subgroup of sa sa su si sa se s s okay this one is subgroup of ta ta tu ti ta te t t this one is subgroup of la la lu li la le le and this one is subgroup of na na nu ni na ne n okay when we read it abro 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 ይስጥልን አብሮ ይስጥል so you will reply if someone says you ጤና ይስጥልኝ in Amharic language it's a greeting this one is a special greeting so if someone says you ጤና ይስጥልኝ then you will reply አብሮ ይስጥልን okay አብሮ ይስጥልን so this one is as I said you before it's a special greeting word in Amharic language since it can be used anytime okay in the morning in the afternoon in the evening and it doesn't what differentiate gender okay if whether it is male or female or number of person if they are one or more than two person it's similar so you will say ጤና ይስጥልኝ so the person you say ጤና ይስጥልኝ will reply by saying አብሮ ይስጥል okay so it makes this one makes it different from other greeting so it's a special greeting so it's easy one okay you don't bother to use whether the person is male or female or they are two or more than two how can I say it so it doesn't require anything to do anything okay just you say ጤና ይስጥልኝ then the reply አብሮ ይስጥልን so if someone says you ጤና ይስጥልኝ you will reply አብሮ ይስጥልን and also if you say ጤና ይስጥልኝ the person you say to him ጤና ይስጥልኝ will reply to you by saying አብሮ ይስጥልን so it's a special greeting in Amharic language so use it okay this one is easy